I thought you were saying for sure. I was about to say, hold the hell on. Why? And there's no sound right now, guys, because the sound cut and the camera's frozen. I don't know why. I do too. But remember when we had Lori Vallows' first trial? The cameras were in there, but the recorders came out and they literally told us everything that was said. And how's it sounding over here on YouTube? Can you all hear okay?
And I should have went the other way if you think it is. Well, it came both sides before.
Hi, Marianne.
Sorry. That's a good trick.
Again, my link to my Tubo is in my bio, guys. That's where you can see.
Tennis. Especially in the winter time, it's cold.
No, I have that on the try before you. I want to do that on the hand.
Yeah. Looks good. Here comes another Escalade.
Hi, Karen. Yeah, it keeps going in and out, Mary. I have no idea why. But I wonder who's in that nice shiny black SUV. Come on, show us. Move out of the way. I know that's kind of defeats your purpose, but move the hell out of the way. I want to see who's in there. Is that his mom?
Janice, Janice, how are you feeling?
Janice.
Son is a predator.
Your son is a predator, someone screamed at her. He's more than a predator. Allegedly. It's all alleged until it's not. I'm not gonna adopt that if So then who was the first woman if that was his mama?
They put Kevin in the coach. Should have fucking took off from this. I was up for 2 celebrating.
Oh my god, I gotta watch my fight.
What happened? They took the street. Hello?
This is like a freaking circus. Who's that? Maybe. Hey,
Superintendent?
on YouTube, you guys can't see me, but I have that uncomfortable cringe smile thing going on. Who the hell is that? Again, if you guys want to see the visual along with the audio, go there on TubeView. It's making me dizzy too.
Did you see who was with who was holding Jeff?
Mira, habla español.
Was she a
Ven
white
acá,
woman?
ven acá, por favor.
Oh, you didn't get it?
Ven acá.
Oh, you just not.
Gracias. ¿Por qué no te metas, capitito? Soy yo.
I'm surprised she didn't come with the kids.
El medio vida, el medio.
What the hell?
Encojonado, tú sabes. Gracias, ¿eh? Pase buen día. Ahorita, 11. Pase buen día.
Imagine 80-something years old. And doing this. Would never.
Nobody wants that shit. Nobody wants that shit. Come here. Come on now. Come over here. Nobody wants to talk. The two, you heard? Hi, can I talk to you? Talk to you? Now, please. Nobody want to come. Will. Be honest. That's funny. Be honest. Free speech. Say, yo, it's fucked up. Say it. And I won't be. Salute you like a soldier. While I was schooling in New York. You saw school and shooting fucking range.
All right, we got.
No. When you shoot like the best, you tell me not to do it.
Thank God there's no warning on YouTube, I have to say, because y'all know on YouTube I just gotta warn. Here I'm starting not to care about whether I got that. That's because he's trying to make a point. He's trying to make the police say that Diddy is a criminal. It doesn't work that way. Introduce him in. gonna go grab my sweater while we're waiting for this. I'm getting really cold.
Yeah, your colleague went in. How did she get? How did she get in? So why was she here?
Hi, Ro.
Oh,
If you guys want to see the visual side, that's the two of you. Links in bio. Did anybody else come in when I went to get my sweater? This is Diddy's status conference. We're waiting to see if he walks out. If he gets his bail. His mama wasn't at the other ones, right? There's somebody holding up a sign outside this that Puck tried to. Oh, I hate word. That was just today. He went to the higher court. He took it to a higher court. How are you, Lacey? Who's this? That's what's her name? Lori Allred is there. Can't hear her over the trucks. Mm-hmm. I hope he doesn't get out too. Hi, Blue. We've got the tube of you running too for the visual. Link in bio, guys. Ooh, thank you, Linda. That one's super cute. It keeps setting it automatically. I'm not picking those. You guys know you don't have to send me any gifts, but I appreciate it. Thank you. I know, Mary. Me too. Me too. And guys, this is the tube of you.
Gloria, you're a
That's
champion,
where we're at.
What do you
Gloria.
hope to accomplish today?
You're a champion,
What do
Gloria.
you hope to accomplish today? What do you hope happens? The outcome?
A little louder, please, Gloria.
And
For the people in the back.
And how many victims are you representing?
How are the victims that you're representing? How are they doing?
So she's up to more than one victim she's representing. The other one has 120. Will they say if he gets to walk on bail? I'd understand if they didn't. I'd understand if they dropped it. That's one scary dude. Yep, that's Gloria. Good old Gloria. How are you, Jennifer? I know, Karen, I do too. And that's the only reason I'm liable having a fever and being super sick. Because I have this
Fighting
weird,
victims'
really
rights, Gloria.
But keep in mind, you guys, we also have a solar storm coming in too. Maybe that's it.
Puffy's a monster.
Oh,
Diddy
that's
is a
it.
monster.
I'd rather it was a solar storm than Puffy getting out.
Predator.
Speaking of a solar storm, who am I on? Hey, Sue. Guys, this is the tube of you for the visual of this. The link is in bio if you need the link directly. We're doing visual and audio. And you'll hear me sniffle. I'm sick. Just pay no mind. So far, we have had a star-studded entrance of none other than Diddy's mama. And now we have Gloria Allred. There was another one before Diddy's mama. She was in a black jacket and a green dress with big old glasses on. We couldn't see who she was, though. Nobody knew who she was. How you doing? The 10th, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. You're sick too? My ears are killing me. My throat is killing me. Congested.
How dangerous would it be if you got out?
Hold on.
His attorneys are suggesting 24/7 surveillance. Do you think that would help?
I mean, if he were released, his argument was that he was released on bail and provided a very substantial $50 million bond. And if his phones were taken, that he could be released. It would not be a danger to the community. The judge was not satisfied with that, and therefore did not release him.
Do you think there's a chance that Diddy could be released today on bail?
We'll see what this.
Hi, Jennifer Davis. Hi,
Are you
Jessica.
fearful of having it? So that would be his third effort.
Right.
The first two were not successful.
Is it unusual for him to have received a new judge in this case? What does it mean to go against someone who has such financial means as Diddy?
Yeah, go to this on two of you, and you can watch it live.
The person they allege
Link in bio.
abused them, hurt them in some way, sexually assaulted them, to know that he's rich and powerful and famous.
Why is she talking like he's getting out?
By the world. And
We don't know, Donna. No clue that was. It could have been. She went out of her way to hide her appearance.
That's the job of
Gloria, you're a
support
champion
them
for victims.
to help them to have confidence that they're doing it right.
Yeah, she is a badass.
This is the path to justice.
Are you meeting with prosecutors today? Are you meeting with prosecutors today?
You're a champion for victims' rights, Gloria. Thank you for helping get those New York laws right. Thank you for helping Drew Dixon. God bless you, Gloria. You're a champion for victims' rights, Gloria. God bless you.
You sure it's this one, Josh? It might be the other one.
I hope not, but from what Gloria was just saying, I couldn't hear everything. That's why I'm not repeating what I heard, because I couldn't hear every word. And I'm hoping that I'm wrong. One thing I didn't hear them ask Gloria about was the fact that she's representing the woman that accused him just recently, whose ex-boyfriend came forward and she offered to pay a large sum of money if he would back up her claim. I wonder how she feels about that.
Did she give you any good stuff?
Karen, ignore all my typos when I'm messaging you. Just ignore. Not like me. Today I'm just like smashing any key that's roughly around the key I'm trying to take.
Get down, look at that YouTube. She's doing her reporting. Social media.
Come again? I just want to put up a disclaimer ahead of time. I have no idea what could happen. I have no idea what couldn't happen. This is video and audio. I would not listen to it openly. No idea what could happen outside of a courthouse. I've thrown that out there. I had a really weird feeling. Oh, that wasn't his lawyer. That was that's not his lawyer. That was the other victim that have come forward. That was Lori Albert. But what she was talking about was not sounding good for those talking out against him. I'm hoping that I was mishearing. I know, right, Mary? Mary says, if I ever need an attorney, I want her to. 100%. She's a boss.
That's what she wants, right? Wait, I'll tell you what. I'll go get
Pay no attention to me, guys. I'm poison. Yeah, she was also talking about things she could or couldn't do if he was released and things, the way they would monitor him while he was stuck. Absolutely correct. But it's the whole showing the outside of it, and it's the energy of the outside, I think, that's getting me. I don't know what it is, but I feel really anxious. I don't like this. I just feel really. I might have to plug in my microphone to start using the microphone for YouTube, huh? I've got it sitting over here. And for those of you wondering, happy Thursday, Jesse. How are you? Way too much, way too much. And in case you guys are wondering, we are going to be starting doing more of our lives on YouTube as well. Okay, we needed to see that squirrel running across the ground because I think a lot of us just needed to laugh for a minute. We're not going to go away, don't worry, Parker. It's just, when it comes to videos getting reported every day and every time that mine get reported, it gets to be a bit much. So, with TikTok trying to censor everything and people going after people because of after, and I don't want no part of that. I'll still be here as long as I have it. I agree, John. I agree. Yeah, when you guys can't hear me well, just yell at me. I've got my microphone here. I just don't have it hooked up. Just tell me and I'll hook it up. It's just I can't put the earbuds in today to listen to hear how I sound. My ears don't. Yeah, guys, if you wouldn't mind hitting that thumbs up on the live, would really appreciate it. Hi, Catnip. Welcome to the team, Tiffany. We're doing the audio here. The visual is on this tube of you. The link is in my bio. It's kind of funny. We got more numbers collectively on 2 platforms than we would have on a single platform today. I don't know what the hell's going on with these numbers. Thank you for tapping, guys. And if I missed anyone that followed, or subscribed on YouTube or TikTok, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. So sorry about that if I missed it. And thank you for liking, Marlo. My hair's sick too, apparently. Exactly. The only reason this many people came forward was because they felt they were safe and he wasn't getting out because he was already denied bail twice. If he does walk through that door today, I'm afraid that number is going to go down by an awful lot. Oh yeah, absolutely fall apart. This is where we're at over on the tube of you if you want the visual, guys. Link in bio. I don't think he'll get away with it. But if you think about it, he's saying, here, let me show y'all because I know that y'all didn't see. Or maybe you did, but I'm going to show you anyways. Diddy is saying that this video was leaked by the feds. And that is one of the things he's using to try to get bail today. Now you see that we're kind of nervous? Oh, absolutely. People already are. There's been a lot of people that have gone out, and that's scary as hell. I don't know if you misunderstood what I said, but I didn't care about anyone leaking anything, so not sure why you're saying that. I honestly don't care who leaked what. I'm confused. Or were you talking to someone else? What did I miss? I put on the hurricane coverage last night, and the numbers were the same last night, too. I think Cassie will stay safe because everyone's watching this and her specifically. I think she might have made herself somewhat safeguarded in that. You know that she is going to be a witness, so let's hope that they're protecting her. I don't know why we're talking about Diddy. Oh, I get it now. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not feeling well. I have a fever. My brain isn't all there. It's mostly mushy today. You're talking about the thing I put up on the screen that I was just talking about 5 minutes ago. I'm sorry. My bad. Fail of the day. Well, if the feds leaked it, that means they wanted it to get out. And they did it on the download. They did it dirty. I don't know if that's going to make enough for what Diddy did dirty to make him walk out. Well, let's hope. Let's take and do a poll for those of us on the TikTok side. If you think Diddy is not getting out, put a smile face. If you think he's getting out, put a cry face. Let's see where we stand, guys. Is he going to get bailed today? You think he's staying in? Smile face, cry face. We think he could be walking through those doors. We got a 50-50 split, guys. And I know there's more than half of us here. You want the smile? Okay, I'm mine this morning. Think about this. He's not the only one that's been doing this. So this is going to be setting precedent for everyone else that is to follow. Anyone else that are in these states that have been doing the Diddy or whatever, yeah, this is going to be saying a lot. Good point, Catnip. I hope it's got you right. I was hearing whisperings about the last judge. They had somebody that was on something and they weren't. I just haven't been able to verify it. And if that is true, that could also happen. I hope they don't do. So, guys, over on TikTok, we had a 50-50 split. Is he? If only we got to make the decision. That was the other point. Thank you, Jody. He also, I did put out a video on this. He's also asking for an April or May trial. He wants a speedy trial. You want to know why he wants a speedy trial? In my opinion, and that's all it is in my opinion, it's a lot harder to dig up proof of something that happened 10, 15, 20 years ago than it is if they had more time. So you better damn believe he's gonna speedy trial the shit out of this. Mm-hmm.
That's my but well, that's Christians. That's audio.
But he has a right to around. He has a right to get a speedy trial, regardless of how much people think he doesn't. He does. How many people think he doesn't deserve one? He has a right to one, and he is pushing for that right. There's a lot of things at play as to why people are thinking he might actually have an opportunity to walk it. There's a lot of things at play that people don't know that are at play right now. There's been a lot of changes behind the scenes. And the judge part is the part that makes me the most nervous. The fact that he took this appeal to a higher court, I just hope that that's not going to help him. I still can't believe that when Diddy's mom walked past, that person was screaming the things he was screaming at. He's going to be nervous either way. Reminder, guys, we're also over on the Tube Review. So if you want the visual along with the audio, Michelle's Criminal Music link in bio. That's my little brother. He wanted to say hi while we're waiting for Diddy. Mm-hmm. You need to go to the hospital, dude. Again, if you guys want the visuals for the audio, Michelle's Criminal Musings, link in bio, over on the Tube Review. Thank you, Canyon. See, Lacey just said. So for those of you that aren't familiar, my brother's on the Tube Review, and he came up to tell us that his finger's purple. And he's still sitting on his couch at home instead of going to get it looked at. That's what we're talking about. I'm not going to put the picture up. Oh, okay. I'm letting my brother up because he thinks it's brother-sister time, and he thinks that everyone wants to see the brother when really what we want to see is we don't want to see Diddy walk out of that door. What? But why do you say that, though?
Or politicians in videos, and it's going to be too much damaging for our country, and there's going to be some sort of, oh, something was done wrong, so now we can't try him or something. Just my opinion.
You don't think that this has gotten too big for people to simply forget about? This is a lot bigger than R. Kelly. This will be bigger than OJ. This will probably be bigger than Epstein. And 3 royals were named in this too, just in case you guys were wondering. Yeah, you guys tell him because my brother does not listen to me. He doesn't listen to me. Mike, you could have a blood clot. You need to go in immediately. Hold on one sec, guys.
I texted it to you.
Michael, get off the live and go to the hospital.
Did you see the picture?
Yes, go. They could end up amputating your finger.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, well, when they got to amputate your finger, I don't want to hear about it.
Okay, come on.
Bye. You guys are my witness. We told them to go. And we got another black SUV rolling up. Let's see who it's going to be letting out this time. I almost wonder if we should start making bets on who's going to start showing up. We need something to just kind of get rid of this nervous energy, right?
I'm sorry.
Thanks for tapping the screen, guys, and sharing the live. I appreciate it. Guys, this is the Tube Review. We are watching the visual over on the Tube Review, link in bio. Who is this? Wait.
Hi, girl.
His daughters.
Okay.
Diddy's daughters.
All right, you got Ebony with you. Okay.
Ladies, any message you want to send your father?
Any message to your father? How's your father?
Have you guys spoken to your father? Have you
Quincy,
spoken to your father?
take care of those girls, Quincy.
What do you want to say about your
Take care of
father?
those girls.
Your father?
Protect.
You guys stay together.
My anxiety just went through the roof 50% seeing them there. Diddy's daughters just arrived. Before that, the new don't know what that
I don't understand why all this.
To my understanding that I've seen. Why is there another SUV rolling up? We don't need any more SUVs rolling up. This is very different than the other two. Thank you for tapping the screen too, guys. I appreciate it. Well, they're in the middle of New York, so I guess that could make sense with the sirens, but those kinds of sirens.
I got a track for in the car.
Go New York.
Yeah.
We're not going to pay attention to what the dog does. By the way, have you guys heard about what they're saying could possibly have been in that baby oil? Think about it.
Gives you the power of AI to build the website you need. With full business functionality.
Trying to interrupt our coverage of Diddy, or didn't he?
Should I start feeding? Wait, should I start feeding or are we doing stand-up first?
Nothing confirmed yet. They are investigating that specific part of it.
Vera is Vera, or original name.
Very cute dog. Which maybe you guys come. I'm trying to convince my husband that we need a dog. He thinks 3 cats are enough, but I think we need a dog too. Feel free to let me know your opinion whenever he comes in here. John, I thought about saying that a few minutes too.
And then this one right here. She goes to NYU right now.
My understanding is they are in the movie. Let me see if I have that one here. I take screenshots of almost every headline. Let me just play it.
And then there was the other one. I didn't get.
Oh, by the way, Diddy was forced to give his key to the city back to Miami as well. So now he's lost 2 keys. New York and Miami. Diddy did not.
What's the K9
I
stand?
can't find it.
Rosalind? Hi, Rosalind. Hi. Hi.
Oh, that's Rosalind.
Are you out here being a good dog, huh? Oh, I see it right there. How long has Rosalind been a dog? K9. See, I got my dog.
Has Rosalind been a
How
dog?
long did you say?
Please tell me I misheard that. Anybody?
Oh, wow.
Not with me.
She did not.
Not with you?
One of the Homeland Security
Oh,
cops
Yeah.
is her original handler.
you
I go, I
heard,
thought you went to corrections because I did. Then I switched over to Homeland. I go,
maybe everybody is.
Yeah.
Maybe this
Really?
players
Recognize the Homeland Security?
coming in or whatever the
Recognize the
hell
little
it is.
peanut
Everything
dog.
Well, he used to
else,
work for
craziness in the world.
Oh.
We
then
got
when he left the company,
hurricanes,
he took the dog
tornadoes.
back.
We've got
So then I
biolab
got her after he
explosion.
left. Right, Razzie?
So what does Rosalind do most of the time?
Explosives.
Explosions?
Explosives.
Let me see if I can roll it back.
Yeah, we have the
Hold on.
security cops.
Yeah. Hi. Huh? Are you out here being a good dog, huh? Oh, I see it right there. How long has Rosalind been a dog? Canine. See?
I told you she said it. I love when those moments happen. Why is it not playing now? Hold on. I think I broke it.
Loves the dog.
Here we go. Why was I did it? You typoed through your mouth. Okay. She had said, how long has Rosalind been a dog? Talking about the police dog. She literally just said, how long has Rosalind been a dog? So she has these fibroflog type moments too, huh? It was like typoing, but through the mouth. Yes, on live TV. Guys, this is up because we're showing the visual on the tube of you. The link is in my bio if you need help with that. Audio here, visual there. Been pretty entertaining so far. I'm guessing one of the reporters, because she had the camera, couldn't see her face though. It's Rosalind. I know, like she's Samantha. Hold on, you guys, we have to roll this back. Samantha just got it, so we're gonna roll it back because I know exactly where it's at, and because it's not freaking funny. We need a little bit of funny. Hold on. No, they go back up a little bit further.
Rosalind? Hi, Rosalind. Hi. Huh? Are you out here being a good dog, huh? Oh, I see it right there. How long has Rosalind been a dog?
Just for you, Samantha. Oh, and guess what? Diddy's mom was there, and his daughters. And some person that we couldn't identify. And Gloria Allred. I know. That's why I said she had a fibrofog typo of the mouth moment. I don't know. She changed it right away and said, "It's not that much better." Oh no. My parents had a Shih Tzu. They had a Chihuahua, and they had a hot dog. Actually, I named him. His name was Oscar Mayer, after Oscar Mayer Wiener. Hot dogs, specifically. Don't get it twisted. And they had to put one of them fat on their own, but eventually all three had to get put down. They're on their fourth dog now, but she's Luciferia. I don't know what the hell's up with this new dog. That's my brother. She attacks him left and right. She's just a puppy, but damn, evil dog. Aaron says she's not evil. She's just misunderstood. So everyone here wants to tell you something. Guys, what did you want to tell him? They wanted to tell you something. They're going to tell you when they see you. Mm-hmm.
You hot chocolate?
Oh, that's it. Dogs make the world a better place. You need one.
So, unless you guys want to help her out, pay for it, and get it and take care of it, no, not gonna happen. I have 3 cats. I'm already dealing with.
You hear that, right? I have 3 cats, he said. Okay. You don't want to do another dog? Then let's get me a cat. Okay,
Where do
I have
send the
Nala.
funds? No, not gonna happen.
You just need a little extra love. I mean,
You
Abby.
got 3.
Okay, Mila
Extra
hates
love.
me. She doesn't even let me pet her. Only Nala loves me. Abby loves me sometimes. Samantha says okay for the first round of shots. And our Samantha said, he said yes a few weeks ago.
No, I did not.
Sam, just said it. Look at right here.
Okay. See, we got a cute cuddly one.
Okay, I don't cuddle with my mommy. See, watch. Put her in my arms and watch what happens. Don't worry, guys. I'm still watching the thing.
Hold it tightly.
They'll send monthly orders of dog food.
Yeah,
Do you know you're put deep on the spot right now? Is that why you're letting Mama hold you? Did you guys see the video I did last week of her climbing on the top of our door? I panicked. I thought she was going to jump down. Why are you trying to stretch Mommy? Ow! See? She don't love Mama. Here, go back to your daddy. Go back to your daddy. Go ahead. See? This Mama needs more love. One more. An all-black cat named Zachary Binks. Oh, I did another one because before we left for the funeral, we got one of the sample TikTok shop items in for cats. So we did a little commercial of it, and I used another crazy clip of Mila before that. So it's all one clip, and it has the crazy part and then the toys. If you haven't seen that one, check that one out too. Oh boy. Mila is beautiful. She just hates men. She hates me. She hates females. That's what it is. She loves men. I don't know. Karen, has your energy changed at all? Do you feel any shift of energy after that funny, humorous? How long has the dog been a dog? For YouTube, I'm going to have to mute the screen for a minute because my brother's here to testify on behalf of his own experience about Mila. Go ahead, Michael.
Oh, yeah. No, her cat. Wait, I don't know if am I allowed to say D-R-U-G-S?
No.
Okay, well, I spelled it. So, her cat literally looks like she's on something. No joke. Her cat gets all bug-eyed, wide as can be, and I have never seen her cat blink one time. Never one time has this cat ever blinked since it's been alive.
Bring Mila back to me, will you?
No joke.
Bring her back.
And if you bring the cat there to like force it blinking, that don't count.
How the hell did you try? No. How the hell did you try to force my daughter to blink?
No, I said if you try to bring the cat there to force it to blink, that don't count.
But how would you force her?
Easy, like give her a little swoosh face. I don't know. Like blink. You ever see that video of the one cat and the dude in the backyard? He's like, blink, mother effer. And it's like, is that a cat? Yeah, that's how your cat is. Yeah, she does not blink.
The reason we're talking about this, and you missed it, was the dog, the bomb sniffing dog, I shouldn't have said that word, that they have outside the court. The reporter's like, oh, how long has she been a dog?
Its whole life. It was also born at a very young age, too.
You know, if you don't go get checked infection, it can get into your bloodstream.
It's fine. It's
Hi,
only
unapologetic.
no, it's because like it was from the a couple days ago or whatever. When like I picked something up or did something. You ever feel like you have a vessel under there that just popped?
Michael, your whole
It's just
finger
bruised.
doesn't turn purple for no reason.
Bruised.
Yeah, come
Tammy
here.
even said it just looks bruised.
Here, Ashley. 1 second, guys.
It's bruised. That's why.
There's no cut or
It's no
anything.
different if it was like on my leg.
That's a bruise.
But it develops as like a blood vessel.
Thank you.
Michael,
Thank you for saving me hundreds of dollars.
I just on your auto.
No. Because Michelle knows that I have anxiety.
Okay, bye, Mary. Have a good day.
She will get me going, and she'll place thoughts in my head, and then I'll start thinking it too.
Okay, first
it's a
of all,
bruise, but you still might
hold
want to
on.
get it checked out.
First of all, I have never claimed to be a doctor or a medical professional. You came and asked your big sister. Your big sister told you you're worried about that. Go to the hospital. Can help you beyond that. Okay, hold on. Michael, do I have your permission to share to show the picture on here? Hold on.
It's only a bruise. She'll help. Ooh. It's just a bruise.
Well, we have a professional.
I grabbed something in the wrong
Drive
spot
safe,
or whatever.
Mary.
And I put my finger underneath.
Remember, I was a combat lifesaver.
Yes, but that one is a wound cure.
That is a bruise. Bad one.
Oh my god.
But it didn't start like that. Parker,
Yeah,
you're supposed to agree with me.
Like that. It takes like a day or two for a bruise to appear usually.
Yesterday he's saying I ruptured a blood vessel.
Or longer.
Yeah, so.
The fact that it's like right there is
I mean, it's lighter than what happened to me. Remember when I fell on the forks?
Linda, it is about Diddy, but when we're hold on, guys. When we're just sitting here watching a door revolve around and around and around, we are going to talk about other stuff.
Did you hear about that? I don't know if it's true. I'm just from other stuff that I've seen on either it's on here or on Facebook. I don't know or whatever. But supposedly, I mean, you heard supposedly how he had tunnels leading. Was it Michael Jackson?
I haven't been able to verify that yet, Michael.
I don't know if it was that or somebody else, but there was another video saying that there was tunnels to the Hugh Hefner's mansion.
Jesse Weber.
Yeah, I haven't been able to verify that yet. But we got to go back to audio. Hold on a second.
Diddy Combs, as today the indicted rapper and music mogul will appear in Manhattan federal court for a status hearing. You're seeing a live shot outside of that federal courthouse right now, and it's important to set the stage about what's going to happen today. Well, first, I'll tell you what's happening with Combs. He's facing three serious federal charges: racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, transportation to engage in prostitution, namely that he's leading a criminal enterprise using his business and associates to engage in all sorts of criminal activities, including using force, fraud, coercion to cause women to engage in sexual activity, including sex acts with male sex workers. These are those so-called freak-offs. So these are the charges he's facing. What's going to be happening today? It's an important hearing. This is where we believe that prosecutors and his defense attorneys will address some serious issues with the court, including discovery. There is apparently a voluminous amount of material in this case. According to the parties, they submitted a joint letter to the court talking about this. We're looking at several terabytes of electronic material, cell phones, laptops, business records, physical evidence. What those materials contain, we do not know yet, but it's being shared to the other side. And therefore, there's going to be questions of how long it will take to extract the data. Will it be turned over to the defense? How long it will take to be turned over to the defense? But it's also possible we can learn more about a potential trial date. It seems that Sean Combs wants this to happen in the spring of 2025. We may learn some other deadlines in this case. And there may also be an issue. So be on the lookout for this that we brought up. This defense filed last night something very interesting. They said they are looking for a hearing to determine if the government engaged in misconduct. More specifically, did the Department of Homeland Security, the agents that raided Sean Combs' properties, were they the ones who leaked the 2016 surveillance video that appears to show Combs beating his ex-girlfriend, Cassandra Ventura? It's quite the accusation, and we'll talk more about it. But to be clear, what we don't think is going to be brought up today is the issue of bail. Combs' defense attorneys, they have appealed his denial of bail, his pretrial detention, to a higher court, the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. We'll see how that shakes up. But I think there's going to be more issues that are pressing today. And what makes today's hearing also interesting is this is now in front of a new judge. The new judge assigned to Combs' case out of the Southern District of New York is the Honorable Arun Subramanian. So it'll be interesting to see how he now handles these matters in a very, very high-profile case. Now, unfortunately, although we have cameras outside the courthouse, there are no cameras allowed in federal court. I could talk day and night about how I think that's a mistake. That's a subject for a different day. But here's the thing we do have. Long crimes, Elizabeth. She is in that courthouse right now. She's going to be in that courtroom. She will come out later, back to the days. We're still going to be following live updates of what is happening inside that courtroom. We're going to break it down for you. I have terrific guests, and also we're going to take your questions. So if you have questions about what is happening in the Sean Combs case, if you have questions about what is happening today, submit them on YouTube. We will answer them for you right now. Okay, I have some great guests to talk about this. I have a great selection of guests that are coming out in the next couple hours. I'm joined right now by Brian McMonagle, the defense attorney from Philadelphia, a very acclaimed defense attorney, frequent guest on Sidebar, and also Ava Sullivan, former prosecutor, is in studio with me as well, another frequent guest on Sidebar. Great to have you both here. Brian, I'll start with you. What are you anticipating for today's hearing? Because I think there's a lot of issues. This is the beginning part of this case, but a lot of preliminary issues that need to be worked out. What are you going to be looking for?
I think it's going to really boil down to a scheduling discussion. This judge is going to want to obviously show that he means business in terms of putting deadlines out and having them meet them. I think that the defense's urgency in this, in terms of bringing this case to trial, is expected. You know, he's in custody. He's going through hell. They want this case tried as soon as they can. But it's a case with significant discovery issues, terabytes of information, questions whether or not they're even going to be able to access some of this discovery. Imagine the timing of getting it and then the time it's going to take to go through every single piece of it from the defense perspective. The government's had this information for a while. The defense wants it tomorrow. And I think that, part and parcel of that, what'll happen today is the judge at least getting input from the parties, as he already has by way of a letter, how quick they want to try this case, what kind of deadlines they want to set, and how soon he can schedule those deadlines so they can be met.
Good point.
So, Ava, I'm going to read you a portion of what the defense said in this joint letter to the court. It says, the defense intends to ask the court to require the government to immediately produce certain categories of information, namely copies of Mr. Combs' electronic devices that were seized over 6 months ago and at the time of the arrest, and certain categories of requested Brady material, and to timely review.
We've thought about everything else when we're talking about it, but I don't know how we didn't think about that.
So what does that mean exactly?
Well, in regards to the Brady material, what that means is evidence that the prosecutors are going to potentially use against Combs. One of the things is he is able to, and also it's required that they produce all evidence to Combs that is going to be used against him. So he's able to evaluate it and prepare a proper defense.
And look, Brian, we don't know what this video evidence is, but the defense wants it. They want him, like you said, they want to go to trial. This is what they wrote in the letter. Mr. Combs continues to assert his right to a speedy trial and intends to request a trial date of April 8, 2025 trial schedule. That feels like around the corner when you're talking about terabytes and terabytes of information, and they are saying we're putting the government's feet to the fire. We want all this material as soon as possible. Is that ambitious? April, May 2025?
Overly ambitious. And the reason for the ambition is pretty self-evident. He's incarcerated. This is a celebrity, multi-millionaire who is incarcerated, and they want to get this done. I think it's ambitious because the turnaround is going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult to go through all this evidence to see what exculpatory evidence is there. They don't want to look at what the government thinks is important. They want to look at everything so they can find out what's important for the defense here. What's interesting is, though, that the most important pieces of evidence, besides that which is electronic and can be turned over, we're going to have Jenks material. And, for a defense lawyer, the most important evidence in the case are the FBI 302s and the grand jury testimony of witnesses. Who are the witnesses going to be? What have they said to the government? How many times have they been interviewed by the government? That evidence we won't see until perhaps no sooner than 60 days before the trial date, or maybe within 2 weeks of the trial date, depending upon how lenient or conservative the judge is.
And my understanding is, especially with federal courts, the transparency is a lot more limited than if it was a state prosecution. But I mean, we could read between the lines, and I think even the defense suggested it in their filings that victim number one with respect to that sex trafficking charge is Cassandra Ventura. So people have been saying she could be the star witness. We have an update for court. As I said, I'm going to provide everybody updates as this comes in. First of all, Sean Combs has been brought into the courtroom. Apparently, he came in through the side holding cell door. He is wearing gel pants. He is wearing a T-shirt. And he was seen smiling and hugging his lawyers. So as we talk about Sean Combs, the rap mogul, the business mogul, fall from grace, to see him in an outfit like this, to see him in this environment is very, very different.
It's deserved.
And Ava, we have a question,
in my opinion,
from YouTube as well. So anybody who has questions about the case, questions about what's happening today, please submit them on YouTube. This is from Lori Crabtree. Is there a statute of limitations on some of the video evidence found? Meaning, can they not introduce some of the evidence because it's time barred?
Now, we know under the Mann Act that a lot of these allegations that go back in time.
And Mann Act is sex trafficking, right?
Right.
Okay.
A lot of these allegations that go back in time, you can still prosecute them. And so under that, a lot of the evidence that may be 10, 15 years old, we are able to still use that evidence in the court.
Brian, one of the things I wanted to ask you about is I think there could be a discussion today about the defense's allegation that the Department of Homeland Security, to be clear, Department of Homeland Security, not the United States prosecutors, not the prosecutors from the Southern District of New York, but the Department of Homeland Security leaked that 2016 video of Sean Combs allegedly beating Cassandra Ventura. I say allegedly, but looks pretty.
No, he was beating her. There's no alleged.
But the point is, if that becomes a topic of conversation today, how do you think that's going to shake out? Because they're saying we want an evidentiary hearing to find out who leaked it. The prosecutors have said it didn't come from us. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's a great idea. Anything you can do to try and circumvent what I think is a smoking gun in at least the case as it relates to, the character of this fella. I think it's a good idea for the defense. Try and get a little bit of a fishing expedition, going on in terms of who leaked it. More importantly, at some point in time, they're going to need to get a fair and impartial jury. And this might just be the first in a series of motions they file trying to keep the government from leaking evidence that's going to be important to this case. Anybody who saw that particular video walked away from it disgusted. And obviously, people are going to be brought into a courtroom pretty soon. Anything you can do to stop it, you try and stop it.
Yeah, sorry, Brian, your signal went out for one quick second, but no, I hear you. I hear exactly what you're saying, what the motivation might be. Ava, I'm going to read you a portion of the letter. This is from their filing. This is from Sean Combs' defense attorneys. As detailed below, the CNN leak was but one of a long and documented history of leaks and false statements made with one purpose: to savage missing this case is particularly egregious. It is unfortunately part of a trend in this district. The government has learned that it can strategically leak information with impunity. This court should exercise its authority to prohibit these underhanded tactics, which severely undermine a criminal defendant's right to a fair trial. And they not only say this video was leaked, but also the number of comments that were allegedly attributed to DHS agents talking about who they're interviewing and what material they're seizing.
It was supposed to be right at noon Eastern.
I think they're doing what a good defense attorney is trying to do: get the smoking gun evidence out of there any way you can. Now, the prosecutors did a reply letter, and in their reply, they said, look, the video leak didn't come from us, didn't come from the Department of Homeland Security. It wasn't part of the evidence we had for the grand jury. So your argument, although you're more than able to make it, and you have every right to, as a good defense attorney would, there isn't a leg to stand on. And I think that raises an interesting question with the defense strategy here. If they're bringing up, tactics, saying prosecutorial misconduct, they better make sure that it is correct, because if it's not, they could become less credible in front of the judge. And that could shape the way this trial plays out for the defense if you lose the trust of a judge.
Well, and by the way, as I said, new judge here would go over this issue. But talking about, because we're getting comments now from our YouTubers, and Brian, I want to go to you about this. This is from Kiana Kane on YouTube. Do you think they will allow bail this time? And is he considered a high risk? First, before I throw this to you, Brian, to be clear, we don't believe that the issue of bail is going to come up in front of Judge Subramanian right now, that this is now going to be decided by a different court, a higher court, the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. But having said that, I read their brief, Brian. I don't know if you had the opportunity to either. But what they basically suggest, and I'm going to summarize it, is we put together a very attractive bail package, $50 million bail, home confinement, take away access to his phone, take away access to the internet, visitor logs. He will be monitored by a third-party outside security team. We will put together any conditions possible.
I have to interrupt you right there, buddy, because one of those conditions being taking away women, that's not a condition for him. You can't just say we're taking away women from someone when you have no idea about their personal life. Just saying. That's not going to change anything.
In order to make sure that he is not a danger to society, as prosecutors claim. And they also spend a large portion of the brief saying he knew he was under investigation since January and had his attorneys reach out to prosecutors. He gave up his passport. He's been doing everything in his power to be cooperative. He came to New York to surrender himself. And this is not only a fair bail package, and he's been doing the right thing, but what they also suggest is the two judges who denied him bail previously, they were relying on unproven allegations from the prosecution. They're saying he was contacting witnesses, but there's not definitive proof of that. It was actually not as nefarious as they claim. There are people who are reaching out to him. It was regarding the civil lawsuits. So as this now takes its way to a second court, a higher court, what do you think?
Well, I thought the argument they made the first time they made it was an excellent one. I thought they overcame what is a statutory presumption in these type of cases. The problem they've got now, though, they're in a circuit court. And the circuit court is really going to be looking at whether or not there was an abuse of discretion. And there is a lot of discretion vested in the district court judges, the ones that ruled on this case, to make these kind of bail detention decisions that they make every day. And so while I think it's a really legitimate argument, and there's certainly circumstances that could be put in place that could protect everyone in this case and allow him to maintain his liberty, it's always a difficult task to overcome a district judge's finding on the issue mentioned.
Yep. In other words, it wasn't so outside the realm of understanding why the judge did this, right? It's not like it made absolutely no sense. You take the government's allegations, you take the facts of this case, you take the weight of the evidence, you could say that the judge was justified, and that's really what you're looking at here. Now, I want to give everybody an update. As I mentioned, we're going to provide you updates throughout this hearing as it progresses, and we plan to stay here pretty much until this hearing's over, and even afterwards. So the hearing has officially started. Combs' new defense attorney, Anthony Rico, wanted to make it clear to the court that Mr. Combs' mother and his children traveled here from Florida and are seated behind me. Now, that's interesting because we talked earlier in the week, and by the way, to let everybody know, what you're seeing is the best any of us can do. Mm-hmm. There are no cameras allowed in that courtroom. This is not like a standard law and crime trial. I wish it was. I wish there were cameras in there, but federal courts, New York courts, they don't allow cameras in the courtroom. It's really a big disappointment. So we are going to do our best to relay to you in real time what's happening. And of course, as I mentioned, Elizabeth Milner's in there and she'll come out later. So that's interesting that his family's there. Obviously, his family's there, but his mom, earlier this week, and we did a sidebar episode on this, released a statement. And she basically told the world, don't judge him, allow him to present his defense. But also she said, he lied. lied. He slept when he said he had, didn't do anything, and then he apologizes for the Cassandra Ventura video. He lied. I thought it was very interesting his mom released that statement through her lawyer, of course.
And I think lying versus committing sex trafficking and RICO type charges are two very different things. The law says you're innocent until proven guilty, and his mom being there could be a show of her belief that my son is innocent of these indictment charges until he's proven.
Yeah.
And I'm going to support my son.
Yeah, I understand that. And look, she came out with that statement after the charges, after the civil lawsuits. And
but they just
look, unfortunately, she's, I think, 84 years old.
In jail.
He probably wants to get this statement in.
And then
it's her son.
they're
So I
supporting him and showing
understandable
up.
that she said that, but at the same time, they're very serious accusations, and a number of people have levied very, very serious claims against him. Okay, so I have a question for both of you. I will start with you, Brian. This is from Nicholas Winter on YouTube. What are your views on federal court not allowing transparency via press coverage inside the courtroom?
I'm ignoring that.
Would the video of the hearing be made public when the case is closed?
And because
I couldn't agree more with the view that there ought to be access.
Is that his mother or his
the citizens have a right to see. They have a right to know. They want to see justice being made, and they don't have that opportunity in federal courts. We don't even have that opportunity in the state courts of Pennsylvania. And I know what the rules allow for. I know why those rules exist, but I think we're now at an age, a point in time in our nation's history, where our citizens require it. They want to be able to see it so they can believe it. And they want to have trust in the system. And I think that would give them at least some confidence that what they hear, what they read is what their eyes are telling them. So why not?
Yeah. And not everybody's able to read an article about what happened, to have that visual medium, to have a clip unedited and put in context, of course, would really help provide that transparency. And no, there's not going to be a copy of the video after the case. There will be transcripts. We can see transcripts. That's probably the best we'll get. Courtroom sketches, as we're seeing. Ava, I'll give you the opportunity to respond to that as well. But if you want to have
why does
actually you answer that? This Nicholas Winter asked for your opinion too. What's your opinion?
I don't think either of you are going to like my opinion. I think that it shouldn't be open to the public because the most important thing is the privacy of the victims, as well as to ensure that the charge, no matter how egregious the charges are, you have a right to a fair trial. And I think opening up to the public, having cameras in there could really impede on that right.
Brian, I want to give you an update about what's happening in court. Literally what we just talked about, the speedy trial. So the judge said the defense requested a trial in April or May of 2025. The judge says they can give them either month, and the judge offered May 5th. The defense said they will take May 5th, and the government says its case will take 3 weeks. Do you imagine this really happening in May of 2025? Less than a year after he was arrested and indicted?
It's unbelievable. It would really be the absolute unusual situation with the representations made about the amount of discovery in this case. But I get it. And, they have an obligation to not only protect, Mr. Combs, but to see to his wishes. And what he wants is his liberty. Now, if there's a determination, I can assure you, by the circuit court that he's going to be released, they may want to punt this case until maybe 2 years from now.
Right.
While he's in custody, I can assure you they're going to be pushing for that May trial date. And guess what? This judge is basically saying, you want it? I'll give it to you. But don't come crying to me, 4 months from now if it's not working for your schedule. So interesting.
Yeah, look, I'm of the opinion, and I will back this up any day. I think he really thought he was going to make bail, be on house arrest for 1 year, 2 years, push it out as long as he wants. But now the fact, and I'll give you another update here, Ava. So the defense says its case, it's going to take a week, 1 week to defend. And that seems to me, right, he's going to be locked up, try to get him tried as soon as possible, put this behind him. They feel confident. They feel confident in their defense against these charges right now. And we've kind of heard a flavor of it, right? That all of these freak-offs were consensual. But doesn't that signal to you that the defense, at least at this point, feels confident in proving his innocence?
Yeah, but the defense might not also have all the evidence yet. The prosecutor in their letter said there was several terabytes of information. To break that down, if you had 2 terabytes of video footage, that would amount to 40 days of watching the video footage nonstop just to get through those 2 terabytes. And 1 terabyte, we know, is about 500,000 photos.
Well, the government has just said,
really
the
hoping they
prosecutors,
were
that they
gonna say
can
that
complete
number.
production of Discovery, meaning turning it over to Sean Combs, by the end of the year. So before January. So if you give everything to the defense by January, can they adequately prepare a case by May?
That gives you 4 or 5 months to review the amount of evidence. Like I said, the videos alone could take 2 months just to look at them every hour of every day for 2 months. You better have a great legal team behind you.
And that's for the current charges. If these charges are upgraded, if he's hit with charges related to minors, as some of the allegations in the civil suits have alleged, this whole case changes. The whole defense changes. I imagine that they can't go to trial in May so quickly. But that part's interesting. That part's interesting, right? Because the government knows right now if they plan to issue a superseding indictment, right? So would they give any indication? I wouldn't think this May date's going to work, Your Honor. I can't tell you why, but I think that something's going to happen in the next month or so. They can't say that, right?
Yeah, they don't usually, and I don't think they would here, certainly. I had been expecting a superseding indictment in this case from the minute I first read the indictment. I was stunned that there were no other defendants. I was stunned that there weren't any charges relative to minors. But TBD, if there is no change, meaning if there is no superseding indictment, the defense will get what they're gonna want. As Ava has said, it would be a Herculean task to go through all this stuff and to find the stuff you're looking for. And things change, I will tell you. January will come and we'll see some new developments, and that April or May trial date may quickly move if there's additional evidence that's provided, if there's a change in circumstances. But it's pretty clear they want to try the case now because he's in jail. Simple as that.
Yeah, but like you said, if that changes, if the Second Circuit lets him out on bail, like you said, he's good.
I got a whole other thought.
It's 100% true. Now, to give everybody some more updates, they're discussing now discovery and disputes. The defense says we're trying to keep them to a minimum. We have an active dialogue with the government. I don't have any disputes at the moment. The government has said that there were 96 devices that were seized in those March raids from Los Angeles and Miami. And also when he was at that private airport in Florida. And the government is extracting material over the next 30 days. So it kind of gives us the time frame of this. Now, I want to, Ava, turn to some questions about the jury, the potential jury here. So this is from Danielle Taylor on YouTube. Where are they going to find a jury? And that is also another question we had as well from another viewer. I'm going to try to find out who said that. This is from Jane on YouTube. How is the court going to select a jury, given the fact that most people in the world know of him?
That is the question of the hour that everybody is asking. I think one of the issues here is he is one of the most famous hip hop artists of all time. So how are you going to get a jury that's fair and impartial, that hasn't heard about the Diddy case? I don't know. I think that it's going to come down to the jury questioning when they get the jury there, doing the voir dire and asking the question of, can you be fair and impartial? The test isn't whether or not anybody's heard of the case. Right. I'm sure everyone probably has, but whether or not you can set aside any bias that you may have against Sean Combs and be fair and impartial. And I'm sure when they do the voir dire, we're going to see a lot of challenges to the jury pool, and this is going to be a long, drawn-out process.
Well, that's the point when the defense makes to say that this video, Brian, of him purportedly beating Cassandra Ventura, everybody saw that video. And that is going to be very hard to forget. That'll be very hard to put away. Now, the defense says, Brian, I'm curious. They say you're looking at this video. You're saying it's evidence of her escaping a freak-off. This was a couple that had a very tumultuous relationship. They both abused drugs. This was a domestic spat. This was an incident of domestic violence,
One of
but
many.
it's not evidence of a sex trafficking. It's not evidence of a criminal enterprise. What do you make of that?
Yeah, one of the motions you're going to see here is to exclude that video for that very reason, that it has nothing to do with the crimes charged. This was no different from him getting into a fist fight on the street or a fight with someone in his own family. It was domestic violence. It had nothing to do with the crimes charged. And quite frankly, they may have a legitimate leg to stand on here. It is so prejudicial that there's going to have to be significant probative value for it to come into evidence in this case. And they will monumentally move heaven and earth to try and keep that evidence out, I can assure you.
Going back to an update, so the government still talking about discovery, the material in this case, that it's going to take some time and specific tools to extract all of the data. Some devices were damaged. What does that process contain? What does that process entail, I should say? When you get a voluminous amount of material, email accounts, cell phones, laptops, video surveillance footage, electronic data. How does the government work on extracting that information? Who do they work with?
You're going to have a team of IT experts that are very good at going in, getting the data out, but it's a process. It's going to take a while to do it.
Brian, question for you. This is from Daniela3984 on YouTube. Is it possible for Cassandra Ventura, to testify against Combs even though they settled outside of court? And just to let everybody know, she filed her lawsuit in November of 2023, settled with him the day after for an undisclosed amount, for undisclosed details. What is your take on that? Can she testify?
Sure, she could be compelled to testify by the prosecution. I mean, that was a civil agreement, and it certainly has legitimacy within the civil courts, but this is a criminal prosecution. They'll issue a subpoena order, they'll compel her to testify, period.
Yep. Another follow-up question for you, Brian. This is from Ashley Glass on YouTube. How many times does he get to appeal for bail? So just to let everybody know, first, there was a magistrate judge who denied bail. Then a district court judge denied bail. Now he's taking it up to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. If the Second Circuit Court of Appeals denies it, where can he appeal it next, and how many times can he keep appealing it?
It's over. I've never seen an appeal beyond the circuit court go anywhere. The next place to go is to the United States Supreme Court, and they're not taking on any kind of a bail motion. So this will be it. The circuit court will rule, and whatever that ruling is, that will be your answer.
Can the circumstances change, Ava? For example, if some of the allegations put forward by the prosecutors about him contacting witnesses, or some other development happens that changes the circumstances, can he appeal for bail one more time? If you don't know that, I'll ask Brian. Let me ask Brian. Brian, what do you think?
Yeah, you would really need a change of circumstances. Sure. If you found evidence of innocence, if you found evidence that a typical case somewhere where somebody was somewhere else at the time of the crime, yeah, a lot of things could change. But just on the issue of where you can go for help on appeal, they can't go any higher than the circuit court with any legitimacy.
Ava, I'll turn to you now. Do you think that they make good arguments for the application that he should be granted pretrial release? As I mentioned, what he would say is a very attractive bail package. Throughout his appeal, he said that a lot of these conversations, he wasn't obstructing justice. He was, first of all, they said that him denying the civil lawsuits, that can't be a form of obstruction of justice. He was not, as soon as he found out somebody was a grand jury witness, he stopped contacting them. A lot of people, he said, reached out to him regarding the civil suits. And I think the bigger question put forward by him is, how can you detain him when these are mere allegations that aren't backed up by more evidence that he had been reaching out to people, that he had been trying to reach out to witnesses and victims? Does the government not need more in order to detain him?
I think the bigger question is, how can you ensure that the person with all the money and all the power in the world is going to show up to court? So their bail package, yeah, it's a good bail package, but like they said, he'll surrender his passport. We don't know if he has other passports. There are countries where you could go and pay $200,000, become a citizen, get another passport.
Why didn't he do it in the past few months? He could have done it. He didn't do it. He surrendered his passport even before he had to.
Maybe he believed that it wasn't as bad as it is right now.
Here's a question for you, Brian, as we wait for more updates from the court. This is from Alicia Fall Why haven't there been brought towards Diddy's employees and other artists?
What?
Yeah, well, the only way you could bring other charges if they were part of a conspiracy, if they took any actions, any criminal actions on the part of the conspiracy. So whether there were other artists involved, whether there were other employees involved, they would have to engage in criminal conduct. I am stunned that nobody in his, what I'll call inner circle, who are supposed to have made some of these threats, who are carried out some of these threats, have not been charged as accomplices. That's the one thing that has stunned me so far in terms of the brevity of this indictment. Why it is just him.
The Epstein case. This is a giant, you know, to see two people being charged for it. But I guess that's the question. If this is a conspiracy, he can't just agree with himself. He's got to agree with other people. You would assume, Brian, that they are cooperating witnesses, right?
Well, there's no question about that. It's what's troubling to me is if they are cooperating witnesses, did they simply get immunity? You rarely see that. You see cooperating witnesses coming in and taking guilty pleas, and then cooperating. You rarely see full-blown immunity, and that's why I'm not so sure we won't see a superseding indictment.
I still think it's coming too. The same thing happened in the R. Kelly case. Okay, got another question. So far, no updates from court. Keeping a very careful eye on it. And we also have that feed from outside the courthouse as well. This is from Malel33, as if I mispronounced your name. Malel33. This is about
to the public.
Brian, before I go to you, Brian, about that one, because I'm curious your take on it. Couple of updates. Prosecutor AUSA Johnson, from the airport, 9 devices were seized. From Miami, 36 devices were seized. 29 have been extracted. 17 will be produced in our next production. In LA, 51 were seized. 27 will be produced in our next production. Also, Combs' phone from his arrest in September will also be extracted. Some people would say that seems like really dry, boring news. I will tell you, we have been speculating for months.
Speculating there is the key word, buddy. Now, Sam, tell us, where would Diddy go? Where would he go to hide if he flew or fled from the United States?
That's a good question. Before the arrest and indictment, what did they take? What are they looking at? I think this is a gold mine. We still don't know what they're finding on it or what they will find on it, but I think that's interesting. Now, another update. The prosecutor
talking about he disappeared the first
Johnson said that the subpoena returns, we're putting them in a relativity database. Oh, I remember that one. You remember when I was a litigator, I remember that. Explain to our audience really what that is real quick.
It's an online database where you store lots of information and then you have someone go in and code it and check to see if something's responsive or not.
Yeah, I had to do
It's terrible. Absolutely terrible.
The worst thing. You literally go and check. Okay. Anyway, all right. So they also say, and the judge asked, what about Brady material? Johnson, the prosecutor, says the defense sent us a Brady request. The judge said, at the next conference, I will ask about your progress. The prosecutor said, our investigation continues. Further on, he says, we have a subpoena out to Combs Global. We were reviewing all of the material for privilege. Our filter team, removed some material before the case team can see it. And then the judge said, for motions, I'll give the defense until February 17th or before we are here. And then they next have a next discovery conference on December 18th at 2 p.m. And now they're going to turn to a defendant's motion. I'll get to that in a second. So, Brian, a lot about discovery here, setting timetables for it. As you said, what do you take away?
Pretty much what I expected. They want to get the case on track, and they want to put dates down that'll be etched in stone where they can take everybody's pulse. December's a pretty good time. There'll be another 2 months for the defense to receive discovery, start reviewing discovery items, know what they don't have. The government's going to have to explain why they haven't turned over whatever they do have left. But this is the kind of timetable you see time and time again with complex cases. So I'm not surprised by it. I would have expected it. This judge is doing it by the numbers, as I think everybody expected him to do.
Now, Mark Agnifilo, who's representing Sean Combs, one member of, I think it's now being teamed his dream team. I don't know, but his dream team. Mark Agnifilo is asking the court for a gag order. It says that the concern is that the agents have been leaking grand jury information and making other prejudicial statements. Ava, this is what we anticipated, that they were going to bring that up. What do you think?
Absolutely. Right now, it's all speculation that they're making regarding the gag order, and I won't be surprised if the prosecutors also request a gag order against Sean Diddy Combs in order to prevent him from talking to victims.
Ryan, turn it over to you. Your thoughts?
Did you not?
Yeah, I mean, usually it's something that the prosecution requests, gag orders for the defense. And I understand why Mark's doing it. It's the right move. This is a case where they do not want their jury pool exposed to any more comments, any more statements, or any more videos that may be at the disposal of the federal government or whomever turned it over. So, smart move by the defense. I would expect the government to say, sure, roll in.
Well, Ava, this is the government's response. The government says, this is a live update, is saying, they say the defense is trying to exclude a damning piece of evidence. This is, I believe, regarding video, the 2016 video. The press statements, they are not from the prosecution team. The government says that it is significant that that's the case. The government is requesting the judge defer any ruling until they get the papers. Thoughts?
Right. And the prosecutors asked for 3 weeks to be able to put together their papers. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's an evidentiary hearing that comes out of this. I mean, they're saying he's not going to have his Sixth Amendment right to a fair trial. And that's something judges take very seriously.
Chet, big question for you. This is from Pixie on YouTube. How much time is Sean Combs looking at if he's convicted of all the charges?
Life.
I'll send it to you.
Well, I think it's I think it's life in prison, if I'm correct. I mean, we're looking at what, 15 years to life in prison. The racketeering charge could be 20 years. Brian, am I wrong about that? I mean, minimum 15?
Yeah, I mean, somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 to 20, I would think would be a guideline kind of area that he could expect with these kind of charges. So, yeah.
What about life in prison?
This isn't a life case. I can't even fathom that there might even be a possibility that this would be a life case.
Another question from Helena Chavez Adams.
Why can you not fathom that this would be a life case when he has changed so many people's lives by what he has done and ruined so many lives, and in some cases allegedly ended so many lives?
They haven't been charged. They are with their father in court. What do you think their role that they may play in this criminal case?
Well, we know that the prosecutor sent out, they said in one of their correspondence, 300 subpoenas, 100 have been turned back. So there may be evidence somewhere in there that the sons are being looked at, but I think right now we're just waiting to see how it all unfolds.
Brian, this is a question that has been a common theme in the sidebars that I've done. This is from Dana Gilson on YouTube. At what point are people able to be legally responsible for not reporting a criminal act that they witness or suspect? Will hotel employees be charged for not reporting potential abuse? This becomes a common question when we talk about whether or not big-time celebrities who maybe were at the parties and noticed something, or at the freak-offs and noticed something, even if they didn't engage in criminal behavior, if they saw it and didn't report it, could they be legally responsible?
Yeah. I don't think there are any charges that could emanate in a federal proceeding for simply witnessing a crime and not stopping it or not notifying law enforcement. Now, take an active role in covering it up, take an active role in participating, or on a whole different level of conversation. But I think the answer to that question, at least in every case I've ever been involved in, is no.
If you don't like it,
okay, now we have another update from court. The judge has said the order would prohibit any further leaking of information to the media. It would be furnished to DHS agents. So it seems to be entertaining the idea of a gag order. The government responded, we have no problem. Affirm our obligation not to speak to the press. We object to an order about future leaks. If so, should be reciprocal, right? So it goes both ways. How would that work? In terms of, if there is a gag order, would we all just be scouring legal filings to get more information about this case? I imagine his attorneys wouldn't do any press. There would be no more press conferences. What would that look like, a gag order that would really seal information?
Texas girl could be right.
It really depends on what is.
Remove the statute of limitations. I know
your side can talk to the press, then yeah.
Drastically.
Business? Okay, good. That's really important because, as we know, these go back to And one of the problems that a lot of the people that have been making reports, especially the 120 group from the Texas lawyer, is that they can't get a hold of their police reports. They mysteriously vanished. I don't know, guys.
Meaning, I think within the next couple of months, if there's going to be a superseding indictment, and that's really what the question is asking about, whether there'll be additional charges and or additional defendants, I think you're going to see it within the next 60 days. I'd be stunned if the prosecution didn't move quickly if they have it. The only problem is going to be, what if they develop evidence in February? Now, what if somebody comes forward in February, they find something in February? You know, it's an ongoing investigation. There's civil litigation here. And sometimes the feds really don't know what some of these civil practitioners have in terms of evidence and what they've developed. What if they get that 2 months from now or 3 months from now? What if there's an objection to it and they can't get to it? That would be the only way I would think you'd see a superseding indictment after the new year.
And that means that trial ain't happening in April or May, right?
Do you
No way.
hear what they're
No way.
saying? Just
Okay, I have a question for you,
I just
Ava.
want to make sure. I'm
Update.
understanding this.
Judge says draft an order, maybe see what a gag order would look like. Open the floor for objections. The government said, we have concerns about Mr. Agnafilo's statement. Again, this is the defense attorney, Mark Agnafilo. We have concerns about Mr. Agnafilo's statement. He basically accused the government of engaging in a racist prosecution. So the government's taking offense to the allegations put forward by Combs' defense team.
As they should. I mean, the defense team is essentially saying that they leaked the 2016 video, and there's absolutely no evidence to show that the government leaked it.
Yeah, the AUSA Johnson. I'll read you a quote. Mr. Agnafilo said, they make the case as the takedown of a successful black man. The statements have been picked up. Agnafilo responds, this should have been in the letter. So, you know, look, that's not a legal argument, though, right? If this goes to trial, can his defense team say this is a racist prosecution? Can they make that argument?
I think that they could make whatever argument they need to advance. And as we saw, they could, you know, say, well, look at the video. They leaked it, whatever they're going to bring. I think the key for them here is they're just trying to take the spotlight away from the alleged activity that Combs was involved in and paint him to be the victim here.
So, Brian, look, you have represented some high-profile people, right? We've talked about the participation in that you're involved in representing Bill Cosby. When you are representing a very high-profile individual, let's say a Sean Combs, what does that look like? What are the difficulties of representing somebody like him?
The biggest difficulties I always found is trying to.
Why did you pick up a penalty lawyer? I'll leave that there.
Work. And that's why I think the defense is smart to ask for a gag order here. They're not going to get favorable publicity no matter how hard they try. That's one of the problems. The other problem with celebrities, I will tell you, is, and it's just some of them, not all of them, but they have their own camps and they have their own professionals.
I don't have anyone impacting me on. I'm not sure.
Mr. Combs ought to be doing is taking his advice from his dream team, which he's going to be paying a lot of money for, and which are all excellent lawyers, and not some of the people that like to chirp in their ears. That always is a bit of a problem. They're very wealthy folks. They're very brilliant folks, but they're not lawyers, and they ought to trust their lawyers. That would be the one thing that that you'll have to overcome as a lawyer in this case.
Brian, if I may, I have to ask you, do you think
Donna,
his lawyers advised him
to
put out that apology video on Instagram after the release of the 2016 video of him purportedly beating Cassandra Ventura? Or do you think that was him going rogue and ultimately saying, I'm going to put this out?
Rogue for a while. I'm convinced his lawyers told him to do that. Listen, it was devastating. Yeah. What are you going to say about it? You can't spin it. So apologize for it and say, yeah, I did that. I'm not a great guy, but I didn't do what they've accused me of. I'm not that guy.
Yeah. The problem is
absolutely
he admitted to a crime, and when he knew he was under investigation.
It was a crime. That was one of those things, and I know what you're saying, but it's like, don't believe your lying eyes. So you Can't run from that. So embrace it. I made a mistake. I'm human. I apologize for it.
Yeah.
People want to hear that. They don't want to hear some negative, ridiculous spin. I think it was the smart move, and I would have done it.
All right. Well, look, it's definitely a point of conversation, and it helps his defense. He didn't say he apologized, but didn't reveal too much. If he's going to go forward with the argument that this was a bad domestic spat and not an example of sex trafficking, not an example of a freak off, he could use that video and say, I'm apologizing for what happened between me and her, but it doesn't mean I did anything illegal regarding a racketeering enterprise. Okay,
absolutely.
Couple things. So this again is a live feed outside the courthouse. There are no cameras allowed in the courtroom. We're doing our best to provide you updates as they come in. We have these live updates coming in, but we are also taking your questions on YouTube. So if you have a question about the Sean Combs case, if you have a question about what's happening in today's hearing, submit it on YouTube. We'll read it on the air. I do have a little update for you. So,
there's two different features.
The judge said any application under the Speedy Trial Act, the government responded, we move to exclude time under the act. It's already told by motion. And the judge said, I exclude time until December 18th. I have no application for bail before me. What does that
do you
mean?
hear both of us
Well,
right
under
now,
the Speedy
or just
Trial Act, he has a right to go to trial within 90 days. What can happen is there's certain situations where you would exclude, so certain time wouldn't count against the government. Because here, it could be a few weeks, it could be a month, and that way it still gives them more.
Okay. Now YouTube, do you only hear me? You still hear both? Because I've got it muted completely, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure where you're picking that up then, because I literally have muted that entire screen and my computer as a whole for any output audio. Yeah. Okay.
And Ava, the thing about it is, someone like him, and I remember his attorney said this, obviously there's terrible conditions within that detention center, the Metropolitan Detention Center, but also said that he might be a target because of his high profile status. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. We saw that with the R. Kelly case. One of the things his attorney said when they were trying to get him to get bail was, look, he was a target and he did get beaten up, and the guy who beat him up wanted publicity for his own case. Definitely. P. Diddy, he could very likely be a target in prison.
Brian, something you mentioned, it just struck me as we're talking about, because one of the big things that came out of this hearing is, could we potentially see a trial in the spring of 2025, much sooner than I think a lot of us had anticipated? October 7th, their first batch of material. If they start to see something and they say, wow, the evidence is a lot worse than we thought, do you think they're going to say, you know what, we need a little bit more time?
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. I mean, they can.
What about now? Because I'm starting to wonder if when I hit the mute button, if that means that my mic turns off in here.
The December of 2025, anytime you want it. So since they asked for it, if they're going to make such a move, they better do it quick.
Yeah, I agree. So one of the questions that was asked of me from Bush Baby on YouTube, is his dream team in attendance today? Look, he's assembled a whole new legal team. An appellate attorney. I'm not sure exactly who was accompanying him today. We know that Mark Agnafilo was. We'll find out from Elizabeth Milner, maybe a little bit more about his team who was with him in court, but we'll see. And also who else was in attendance. We have a question from Marissa McGill. Will he be charged in any other state, Ava, or do you think his time will be consecutive in one?
I think we really won't know until we see how things unfold.
Well, it was in New York because a lot of the conduct could have been centered here. But if you take the allegations as true, and there was conduct in California too, do you think there was a conversation between New York prosecutors and California prosecutors about this? Or do you think maybe this was just always New York based and this is where it's going to be?
There may have been a conversation and New York may have decided we're going to go forward with it.
Yeah. All right, question for you, Brian. This is from Famous Joker of YouTube. Do you think it's only Combs, or is there one person in the background, someone with more power? So I actually like this question. I'll tell you why. I am convinced, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I am convinced. Everybody says, oh, Sean Combs is going to spill the beans. He's going to turn on people more powerful than him, the people controlling the strings, in order to get a better deal. I don't think that's possible because he would have to agree to significant prison time as part of a deal. And I don't think he's going to want to do that whatsoever. You could disagree with me about that. But I guess also the question is, who would he provide information on? Who is bigger than him?
Yeah, I get the question from Famous Joker, but I really think that you're looking at the guy. That's the tip of the iceberg. I think there is an iceberg, but I'm not so sure that there's anybody above him that the feds are too interested in. This was his party, and they want him to pay for it.
And I would say you don't even need him, right, Ava? You don't even need. If so much of this is documented on videos and text messages and witness accounts, do you even need the testimony of Sean Combs? Now, of course, I would imagine taking a deal is optimal. You can save the pain of having these witnesses testify and talk about what happened to them, the expense, the time of a trial. But I also think you don't even need him as a cooperating witness, right? They want to prosecute him.
Right. And I think in his trial, he's probably not going to want to say a word.
I just have to take a moment because I can't help wondering if this is some kind of distraction. Like his whole conversation. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being paranoid.
Interesting question, Brian. Do you think that Sean Combs, and his attorney said he wants to do it, you think Sean Combs would take the stand in his own defense?
There you go, Tim.
Well, I got to tell you, I mean, that's usually not the rule. It's usually not the game plan. But when you're dealing with a case like this, where there has to be some questions answered, sometimes the best person, to answer them is the defendant himself. He's eloquent. He's smart. He gets it. This might be one of those cases where the video. I mean, you got to explain that video. Otherwise, you're just a vicious, bad guy. There may be text messages he has to explain. There may be video evidence that we haven't seen that has to be explained. Who's going to explain it? They said that it's going to take a week to try it. Well, there's 8 hours in a court day. That's a lot of witnesses for 1 week. I want to know who these witnesses are. And if Sean Combs isn't among them, it would be the norm. But it might not be what this case takes from the defense perspective.
That's a good point. So if you take their argument as true that this would take 1 week to defend, what kind of witnesses would they call? Who would they call? Would they call, I mean, other than cross-examining the state's alleged victims and trying to point to the fact that this was consensual behavior, they call male sex workers? I think so. I think they would call male sex workers to say that all of this was on the up and up and consensual, other than the fact that you're hiring male prostitutes to participate in these activities. But
yeah, I mean, that's going to be where the rubber hits the road in this case. I mean, you're going to have to establish that all these people were paid for and came in willing and knowing and agreed to the conduct they engaged in. And they may be the most important witnesses in the case if the defense has them. So it'll be interesting to see. But a lot to be determined between now and then. A lot of decisions for the defense to make. I've seen people make that argument, and the defense case takes 1 day.
All right, Ava, I'm going to give you one more question before we have to hit a break. This is from Joe D. Lopart on YouTube. If the celebs that appeared knew or participated in these
think it goes back to what was discussed earlier. It depends on what their participation was. Did they cover up evidence? Did they take an act on things? Or were they just standards, all things?
Thank you so much for coming on. Brian McMonagle, I know we have to sign you off too. Thank you both so much for coming on, breaking this down for us. Elizabeth Milner is going to come out of that courthouse. We're going to talk to her, find out what's been happening inside. Really appreciate you both coming on and your perspective. So thank you both. And everyone, stay with us. We'll be right back right after this. We'll take a quick break.
Some of these actions, or ask him why some of these actions. And there's names that they say are bigger than Diddy's name himself. I think that this is going to go a lot deeper and a lot higher than what we're able to even think of right now. Think of how long that this goes back. How long did Epstein go back? Think about all of that. All of it. Now we're back to staring at the police officer. Which one, Justine? He does have a DP lawyer. I just don't know if that's the one you're speaking of or if the one on TV. I honestly don't know which one it was. I'm not saying anyone did. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm also not saying anyone didn't, because I honestly don't know. I don't know if he even was. I just don't know. I think a lot of us want to know, but the question is, are we ready to know? That's totally different. Like, I think I want to know, but at the same time, I have to wonder if I'm really ready for that. We have to make ourselves be ready. Well, at least they got all the microphones set up for the press conference. Justine says she's ready. What about you guys on TikTok? Are you ready to know every single person? What about the rest of my people over here on Tube Review? Are you guys ready? Or maybe a better question would be, is there anyone that's not ready besides Diddy?
We also have to remember Tupac's family has an ongoing investigation right now.
Yes, they do.
There's bigger things going on behind the scenes that a lot of people isn't speaking about.
But I have been. I've been putting that stuff out. We stay on top of that stuff.
It's not alleged.
Nope.
They've already hired a good team.
I'm looking for it right now.
And I'm not sure why that channel's not saying it, but Homeland Security and CNN, they've already submitted their court documents. I read it this morning. CNN said that they contacted Diddy about 3 hours after the video was released to get his statement, his side of the story, and he refused. Homeland Security said that they didn't leak any video. Again, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's the response that they put in through court.
There you go, guys. It's on TMZ. It's on many places. They have started investigating Diddy for Tupac's murder.
The man that was given immunity over 20 years ago, over 25 years ago, when Tupac allegedly left this earth, in those documents, Diddy's name, which was Puffy at the time, was said over 77 times. It's alleged that he was the one who paid $1 million for the hit. Those paperwork has been around ever since a couple of months after this happened to Tupac. There's also a book that the man wrote.
They can't call him now But could they have done? They could have tried, absolutely. What are you guys thinking? Are you guys all feeling like your energy is still nervous, or is it starting to simmer down? Where are we at? Where's our feels at? Rebecca says, Sam, I keep messing up my screen. I think she's trying to figure out how to find you. She's over on the DT side, not the YT side. So how are we in our feels, guys? A lot of us had a lot of nervous energy. Do we still have that nervous energy, or things kind of simmered down for us? Where are you all at? But if you're talking about a reputable news agency, I would assume they would try to go through his lawyers. But I just.
I should have phrased that better. They did contact his team and ask if Diddy wanted to make a statement on it, according to their court documents that they put in late yesterday afternoon.
Rebecca, who told you to simmer down? No, we didn't tell you to simmer down. Nala, what's the problem? You're still nervous, Renee? Karen, what are you feeling? I know you were right there with me on the nerves. Where are you at? Your name isn't Karen. I said Karen, didn't I? Sam, please say I said Karen.
Yeah, you said Karen.
See? It wasn't your name.
Okay, well, take that second half, but if I didn't hear the first letter, what do you think I heard?
Kind of sounds the same.
Yeah. Don't you meow me. I want to show you guys something. I know this is all not showing, but this is the solar flare storm that we're supposed to be getting today that I was telling you guys about. Thank you, Blackheart. Me too, Jen. A lot of people don't seem to understand that for some of us, we grew up on the music of these people and movies of these people. I'm a Gen Xer. This is a big and was a big part of our entire lives and growing up. Karen, I noticed you didn't say how your feels are doing right now. The TikTok and the tube of you want to know how your feels are, Karen. I'm putting you on the spot. Okay, got you, Justin. See, Rebecca, okay. Rebecca was nervous, but she's not as nervous as I'm getting out now in bail. If we ever wanted to wonder what the street in New York sounds like, here we go. Sam, will you take the wheel for a minute? I gotta go blow my nose. I cannot breathe.
Yes, you're good.
I'll be right back, YouTube. Something's up.
Release pending a conviction. Also, to try to say that he may have tampered with witnesses, etc. There's no evidence that he did this subsequent to being charged. To try to say that he presents a flight risk and everything like that, there's no evidence that he ever sought to evade prosecution. It's called prevention. You can't do that. You can't say punish a person for something they might do. They can only punish a person for something they have done. So the law mandates that he be released pending his trial, and that any deprivation constitutes a fundamental deprivation or violation of.
Well, they should have cut that for us real quick. Yeah, they hopped on the mic.
All right, welcome back, everybody. I'm Jesse Weber. So you're looking at a live view right now outside of the New York Federal Courthouse where Sean Combs just had a status hearing where his attorneys and the prosecutors and the judge, they went over a number of issues regarding gag orders, regarding the government allegedly leaking material.
That man was speaking on the microphone and long time just cut it off and went back to full footage of the cops standing back where they were. The man's no longer at the mic. Now they said when they were taking the break, they were going to give us the live feed. That's what we're looking at. Now suddenly, this is where we're at, and he's come back talking, but no explanation of who that man was and what he was saying, and why it is or isn't important. That's not sus at all.
And acclaimed litigator Ben Shue, who knows a thing or two about representing high-profile individuals. He represented Johnny Depp in his infamous trial that we covered here on Law and Crime. Great to have you both here. Elizabeth, I'll start with you. First of all, there might be a presser. I have no idea who the guy was that just went on. I'm trying to confirm that. But we're also, by the way, taking all of your questions on YouTube. So if you have any questions, make sure to throw them out here and we'll answer them on YouTube. And there's a bunch that came in. First thing I want to ask you, though, what do you think about the idea of a May 2025 trial date, given how much...
That's not going to say them. I cannot believe that they did that so blatantly. They didn't even care. They're like, we are censoring the F out of you. We do not care. And then they try to put it back on. They say, oh, we're live outside the courthouse. That was not the live clip because the live clip was of the man talking.
That raises a lot of red flags in my head.
Me too. Why do you think my eyeballs are about to come out of my eye socket? I could not believe seeing that. You hear about those things happening and you see it, and that's one of the reasons I'm not a journalist anymore, Sherry. One of the reasons. But damn. I want to see themselves dig themselves out of this blunder. I really, really do. Come on, why is this now going? Just so blatantly to cut that out like that, the cat say, "Oh, sorry." Went back to the earlier part of the feed where he wasn't there, and dumbass admits it.
Who does defamation, all this law. I mean, it would be crazy for them to come to it because it opens up discovery. I would obviously involve you guys to help fund it. I'd be fascinated to learn. Well, is it true? Let's figure out what's is it false? Okay, let's open up the books because that's the part of this. That's where part of me is kind of surprised. Pierce, as a journalist, uncensored guy, wants to get to the truth of it. Wouldn't want to do that. Again, he chose his battles and fair, and ultimately it's true. Maybe I ultimately would look at it and go, my God, I can't afford this. This guy is expensive. And I'm sure he would do everything in his power to suffocate and drown me. But that's what I'm standing up against.
But I have to look for the live coverage. I'm sorry, my dude. At the same time, there's a Pentagon briefing. I cannot believe that they did that. Yeah, that doesn't raise another concern. What does?
You're gonna talk.
And because of all that, now we can't see who they're walking out.
He tried to kill me one night in New York City. He's a monster. Watch yourselves. Get up sidewalk, please.
Is that everybody? No.
Speak in the microphones, please. The microphones.
Can you speak in the microphone?
Yeah, that microphones are over here.
Can you come in front, please?
Microphones,
Come on,
guys.
mics, please.
This is a shit show.
I don't know. Direct them to the microphones, please.
Everybody back up.
Anthony, could you just repeat what you said over there in terms of
Yes. I could never remember what I said. Dr. King told us that more than intended consequences.
Microphone.
Push a person down, the stronger they get. And so he's making an adjustment. He had his family here today to support him. We really want to put an end to all the clowning that we see on the internet. It's a serious proceeding.
Sam, take a screenshot and type what you said to put on your screen.
Is it a racist proceeding, as Mark has said?
Nobody's okay with staying in jail for you. Okay,
Anthony,
thank you very much. That's it for today.
As Mark has said, we continue to look at that.
Sam, what the hell just happened? What happened?
Gag orders were put in place.
That makes a lot of sense now why that guy was cut off there, maybe. Question is on who? That's what I want to know. But you guys know me, so I'm going to start looking.
Granted, just yet.
What?
They are working on it. Oh, you couldn't hear me when I went off reading it, could you?
No.
Okay, they're asking for a gag order, but The United States attorneys and them, they're declining to speak about anything because Diddy's team accused them of being racist, discrimination. So they're refusing to speak.
Did you guys hear all that, YouTube?
I have screenshotted so much my button stuck.
We can just don't send it to me, just save it and I'll put you on the big screen. Hold on, let me figure this out. Okay, so where we're at, guys. The feds say we aren't racist in prosecuting Diddy. Potential superseding indictment. Prosecutors and defense agreed not to speak to the media going forward. The judge did not impose a gag order. There's a lot going on. They're saying Diddy's legal team saying that the feds are leaking stuff and there most definitely is some stuff going on. Oh, you're not the only one. Many people are. I'm with the TikTok. I've been sitting at under 30 people all day. That's probably because I'm shadow banned also. Like that, mommy.
It said the assistant United States attorney denied talking to the press and then accused Diddy's attorney, Mark, of basically accusing the government of engaging in a racist prosecution. He quoted the lawyer as saying the government's case against Diddy is a takedown of a successful black man, which is what he told us in our new TMZ documentary. The judge then said he didn't have Diddy's bail appeal in front of him and said Diddy will remain behind bars. Diddy's back in court and prosecutors are saying he may be facing more criminal charges in the near future, mentioning the possibility of a superseding indictment. The judge told Diddy's lawyers the trial could begin in May, and that's when the federal prosecutors revealed their investigation is ongoing and it may result in additional charges against Diddy. Feds are backing up what they first reported.
Sherry Lou, that book has been taken off the shelves as the family has said that is not our words, but just letting you know since you mentioned the book.
It's this guy's house. We're now going to expand an investigation into London, everything else, like into the UK, is all because Cassie decided to file her lawsuit. Blame Cassie. That is basically, to me, what that letter said. And I'm sorry, as a woman, I can't look at a tape of another woman being treated the way that Cassie was and not defend that woman. And the fact that, Sean Combs' mom can't.
Well, it's
side eye. Side eye.
Even more
that's all.
Because we know it was an isolated incident because I always go back to that clip of him when Ellen confronts him about Chris being friends with Chris Brown after the whole Rihanna thing, and Diddy's there basically trying to defend Chris Brown. Like, I wasn't there. We don't know the whole story. Like, all I know is I saw those photos of Rihanna and she in the ring with Mike Tyson. Like, there's no excuse for it. And the argument always was, well, and I remember it even then, like the narrative, Kim, was just like, well, she was starting it and she was him and hurting him too. And it just like,
Guys,
not
I gotta
an
find this. Sorry.
excuse.
I don't feel like this is the right thing for us right now. Hold on. But I'm gonna go back to Long Crime. All right, I'm just gonna do it.
DNA on it to see if it's it?
I think it's a possibility. You know, they referenced that in the indictment. They also did reference the possibility of people being under the influence of narcotics. So I think anything that they can get their hands on to obtain any sort of physical evidence.
I have a civil law question for you. I have a litigation question for you, Ben. This is from Stephanie Pasnin. Why is Tony Busby accepting settlements? So the idea is, and this is based on the reporting, that he is, and I believe he told us to TMZ, that people have already come to him, high-profile people, and are paying up to not be sued, to not be a part of this. What do you make of that?
That's very unusual, but creative on his part, and might give him and his clients a war chest to go forward against other defendants. But that's quite unusual at this point. I mean, I can certainly understand the incentive of these potential defendants to get out of the way of what will be a very unpleasant and expensive procedure, but that's creative on his part.
And I mean, I would imagine they do not want any part of them being named in anything with respect to Sean Combs. He's radioactive right now. They don't want to be a part of that. But let me ask you two questions about that. Does that mean that those claims are true, or does it mean they just don't want the headache of litigation? And B, let me ask you this. Will we ever know who these people are that settled?
Well, those are great questions. It could be. I mean, a lot of lay people might assume, not the sophisticated viewers of this show, but there are people out there who would assume that any settlement means that the person who's paying money is guilty or is liable. And that's not the case. We all know that people settle cases for any number of reasons, to avoid embarrassment, to avoid expense. So it doesn't connote guilt or innocence or liability. But I think it's difficult. I don't know if you're representing plaintiff, you've settled and you've have some kind of protective order barring the use of that evidence. I don't know how you can do that without prejudicing your other potential clients, if that makes sense.
No, it does. It does. That's a good way to look at that. I got to process that one for a second. Yeah, it's a good point. So again, let me just set the stage about what's happening. Regarding discovery, a trial date. We are waiting for Elizabeth Milner to come out and give us a breakdown of everything that happened in court. As we do, we are taking your questions. I want to go back to you, Elizabeth. I have two questions for you. First question is, and this is something that we've been, not only have we been asking for a long time, assuming these allegations are true, but also this was asked to Damian Williams, the United States Attorney, right as Sean Combs was arrested. Why has this really only come to light now, especially as details appear to have happened decades ago?
Yeah, it's a good point. Whenever I hear a question like that, I always pinpoint back to November 2023 when Cassie Ventura filed their lawsuit. I would imagine that there's a lot of fear in a lot of people in coming forward with their.
Hang with me, YouTube. I just got check something. I'm looking for AP. Well, yeah, that's what they do. Any lawyer worth anything is going to throw everything into the sea. It's their job, essentially. But after this, I want to think of a career change and conversion. Here we go. Someone's coming out. And we got a conference here, guys. Gilmore?
Okay.
I just realized that I had it muted on YouTube. So here, hold on.
That I didn't say in my papers and in court. We submitted a motion, written motion last night. That states our position. I'm not going to say anything in addition to it, but I didn't want to leave all you guys hanging, and I wanted to say at least that I wasn't going to say. So that's all I'm going to say and not say. Thank you all. I hope that gives you what you need, but I'm not going to say anything that I haven't said in court and that I haven't said in my court papers. So you all have a nice day, and thank you very much.
How is he doing? How is he doing?
Monster. I saw your bullshit motion. It's full of social media. It's bullshit. Fugazi. I saw your whole motion. You put it together with ChatGPT. Your client is a monster and a predator. We're going to keep our foot on his neck. He's never getting out of prison. Tell him Gilmore said that.
Okay, can anybody on YouTube not
Lisa, give this to Dan.
besides Rebecca?
Lisa, give this to
Problems
Dan.
of one and not all. What are we looking at?
And I need a card back. I don't have anything in my camera right now. Okay. I think we're good now.
Did you hear what he said?
Oh my God.
Lawyer just spoke.
So I had to go back for those on the phone.
2 doors down from the phone.
But that's a wrap, guys. Bail is denied. Bail is denied. The lawyer essentially said, I'm going to tell you that I'm not going to tell you anything. It's all what's in the documents is everything I have to say, so I have nothing to say. But thank God. I know, right? But thank God that bail was denied. Bail has been denied. I know.
The judge said that he didn't have the appeal that Diddy's lawyer put in that he's saying he did the day before. He didn't have it in front of him, so he will remain behind bars. That's why he was denied.
Okay, thank you. I'm just playing this again because YouTube, can you hear that now?
Thanks for all for waiting. I'm really not going to make much of a statement. As you know, I made a request for the judge to issue what we call the gag order, and the judge is going to issue it on a reciprocal basis. So I'm not going to say
YouTube, can you hear the man speaking?
in my papers and in court. We submitted.
But the question is, the only reason he was denied because he didn't have that in front of him. Is he going to change his mind when it is in front of him?
That states our position.
Well, what we're told is that this will be the third and fourth final time. But if he's saying the only reason he's denied is because he didn't have it in front of him.
How the statement he didn't have Diddy's bail appealed in front of him.
And then I haven't said my court papers. So you all have a nice day, and thank you very much.
How is he doing? How is he doing?
I see your bullshit motion. It's for the social media. It's bullshit. Fugazi. I saw your whole motion. You put it together with ChatGPT. He's a monster and a predator. We're going to keep our foot on his neck. He's never getting out of prison. Tell him Gilmore said that.
Lisa, give this to Dan. Lisa.
So over here on the tube of you, that brings an end to our coverage. I'm going to go put my sick ass back in the bed. Thank you guys for hanging with us. I'll see you guys over on the tube of you next time.